Boom, 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 boom. Okay. So we got a new LTQ today. Drops a new armor,
Welcome.
new variant that we've been talking about, which is this guy. As you can see, some of them put up. And as we already knew, it was going to be 4.5% potency, and you get a plus 20 and a plus 6 over the Octa that you get from Leciel. So it's total of plus 40 HP instead of plus 20. I think you get plus 6 PP. Then of course it's a variant, so it's only gonna have 2 of the 3. Whereas the Octo has all 3 of your attack types, technique, potent, melee, and range. So that's the choice that you have there. As I been previously saying, talking about it, I mean, we already knew what it was going to be, so there's not really any surprise. And the fact that it was being released within the LTQ already told me enough that I need to know before it even was released. And then seeing that it wasn't a drop in Darkfall Soulless 2 weeks ago upon release, pretty much solidified my viewpoint on it. So
See you later.
well, it's a great piece, and if you can get it, it's the better piece that you will want to use because of the PP. But ultimately, if you already built an Octo from Leciel, just keep it. There's not really any reason. I mean, unless you get one, because at the end of the day, it's not a huge deal, not a huge difference. You gain 18 PP for if you have all 3 units, correct? Which is nice. PP is always big. HP. I mean, if you really need the HP that badly, I mean, just don't get hit. So, you know what I'm saying? just don't get hit. But if you really need the HP that badly, sure, cool, great. But honestly, the HP is not really is really a non-factor. The PP is the thing that makes it even remotely better. But of course, it's not all the way across. It's not all potencies. And then one of the big aspects that you have to realize also is that so the way that this is going to line up, and we talked about this before, that how this was going to work, and I was like 99% sure on it, and it was confirmed today with LTQ. So it's going to be one set of each LTQ. When you look at the blueprint that we had for NGS for this section, so 6 LTQs. This is the first of those LTQs. There hasn't been any LTQs within this period. So there's still 6 more. So we see how this is going to run. So it's going to be 1 week of one of the types, another week of one of the other types, a third week of one of the other types, and it's going to refresh. So you know what I'm saying? So that right there in itself is also a reason why the Octo from Leciel. Basically, the LTQ is basically like, hey, this is for the people who were too lazy to do Leciel or struggle with Leciel. Let me hand out some stuff for y'all so that way y'all can actually compete too. Because the LCs drop in the LTQ as well. That's really what the LTQ is. It's for the people who are too lazy to do Leciel or too underpowered to do Leciel. That's really what it is. But also keep in mind that Octos from Leciel are more readily accessible. The fact of the matter is that while the drop rate is not terrible for the variants, they're not great. As you can see, it was still listed at 14 mil, but of course, it's not like Tisah, where we didn't even see a Tisah on the market for like a couple weeks or something like that, right? Whereas we saw the first Octo on ship 1. We saw the first Octo Arga listed within 2 hours of the service being up last night. So the drop rate's not horrible to the point of like Tisah, but it's horrible enough. And basically, in my view of it, is pretty much they're just it's to trickle in directly into Redum, because after those 6 weeks ends, that's right when the Redum part is going to be starting. So likely what's going to happen there is that these are kind of just trickle-ins for the people who are kind of lazy to not do Leciel, and the kind of trickle-ins. And then there'll probably be a more common drop within the Redum high sectors. That's likely what's going to happen. So it's kind of like, okay, if you get one from the LTQ, you're kind of like a heads up above the curve, I guess, right? But I guarantee that there'll likely be a more common drop once the high sector Redum region comes around. That's how that's going to work with how they're being presented. But ultimately, and for anyone waiting for a purple armor, like a lot of people are waiting for a purple armor, dude. Dude, we don't even know if we're gonna. Who knows when we're gonna see a purple armor? The only possibility at the earliest that we see a purple armor is the next high level boss. That's the only possibility. So if you're really one of those people who just keeps on like, oh, well, I'm just waiting for the next purple armor before I upgrade. Waiting for the next purple armor before I upgrade. Waiting for the next purple armor before I upgrade. I ain't gonna upgrade. No, I just wait for the next purple armor. I'll keep on waiting. First and foremost, stop waiting. Play the damn game. You know what I'm saying? Like, you be talking about, dude, there's nothing to do. All this nothing to do. You know why there's nothing to do? Because you constantly keep waiting for the damn next equipment that's gonna come 6 months from now. Bro, enjoy the shit now. Anyways, but like realistically, at the earliest, it will be the next high level boss if we get a new purple armor, right? And there's no telling. There's not even any guarantee on that, because there's a rumor of the 10-star that we might just get a 10-star, that we might not get another purple or whatever, for much longer. And so like at the earliest, I would be like November if we even get a purple. You know what I'm saying? Like at the earliest, it would be like November. It'd be like late October, November. If we were to even get a purple. We have all this shit right here, bro. Like at the least, make new units, use LC augments. They're free. You know how many LC augments I have, bro? Way too many. Look at the amount of LC augments I have. You feel me? Like there's no reason not to. There's no reason not to. And with the prices going down, with the treasure scratch ticket, you know what I'm saying? Like there's a lot of these augments, a lot of the actual augments, like the real non-LC variants, are easily accessible, easily affordable. The LTQ is handing out lots of materials for triples if you want to make triples. There, bro, it's play the game, bro. Play the game. Simple, plain and simple. Play the game. Right. And so but like I was saying though, like, if you already have an Octo built, there's really no rush. You do not need to like try to rush to get an Arga, because also you have to realize that the Octos from Leciel are more readily accessible, which means that you can use them to fix a Gamba. You ain't buying a whole bunch of 14 million Argas to gamble on a 10% chance for a fixer. That shit ain't happening. Even if you're a well, you ain't that dumb. Whereas you can get 6 Octos per week from the shop, and they drop from Leciel that you can gamble on fixes with. That's 6 octos of each, so you could get 12 if you just have I don't know how the hell you accrue that much growth mint, but you know what I'm saying, because it costs 50 for one of the normal ones, so it costs 300 to get 6 of them of the regular ones, where it costs 300 to get a guard one. So and then plus they drop from Leciel. So with that in mind, it's going to be the better option for the most part for regular Octos anyway, because they're more readily accessible, in which you'll be able to enhance the fixes on them more readily. Whereas, sure, you get this Arga, and you essentially just only getting PP plus 6, but you ain't getting no damn fix on that. You're not at least until Redem, and they become more readily accessible. You got questions, I got answers, bro. You got questions, I got answers. So don't be in any rush for that. Of course, if I end up getting one, I'll for sure, I'll use it for sure. I have no interest in changing all of them though. And I will only replace this Octo armor right here with a guard on it. I will only replace this one. That's the only one I would replace. I wouldn't even replace the Ajax, because the Ajax has the fix on it. So that's the only way that would work. So full circle. If you have an Octo armor, do not feel like anyone who tells you like, oh, dude, yeah, I knew it was dumb to do Octo armors because we were going to be getting other Octos that would be better. They're really not better. They're 4.5%. There's no negative effects on either of the armors. There's no downside to either of them. Plain and simple. The only way it would be really better is to have Octos, the base ones, give negative PP, and then this one gives more PP. You know what I'm saying? That's the only way. While 16 PP is a lot, it's not enough to the point where it's like, oh, dude, like this is like the clear cut, superbly more. You got to have this piece. It's simply not, because of the same potency. There's no negative damage resistance, nothing like that. And that's that. Yeah, one of the great things about the LTQ is Tisah is on the drop table too. Of course, we all know Tisah's a lot, but at least it's on the drop table. Whereas Leciel, Leciel doesn't have Tisah on this loot table. So that's one thing to note as well. Really, realistically speaking, how it should probably be treated is like you should still be running Leciel for sure, because that's really what the LTQ is. The LTQ is, like I said previously, prior, is, hey, this is for y'all who don't want to run Leciel, who are too lazy to run Leciel, who struggle running Leciel. This is for y'all, so that way y'all at least have something. That's what it is. And realistically speaking, how you should probably go about that is that on the days when you can't run Leciel, on the days when you struggle with Leciel, like boozing, everyone seems to struggle, not everyone, but the general population seems to always struggle with boozing. Hit that LTQ up. And so next week is going to be the 24-man LTQ, which you're just fighting big boy bosses. That's all it's going to be. So, and I imagine it's going to change after that. So we might get 6 different ones, all different. Initially, I had mentioned that with the way it was panned out, because we have 6 of them, 6 LTQs coming, that there might be potentially be a seasonal coming after next week, as it would make sense, because that would coincide with how we usually have 4 weeks of seasonal quests. However, I don't know if we usually do something for Halloween in here. I can't remember if they did something for Halloween before, because if so, then that would make sense, because that wouldn't make sense. So, but it's either going to be like, it's either going to be a seasonal after next week, so like 2 weeks from now, like a week and a half from now. So it's going to be a seasonal, or it's just going to be just these LTQs. So we also have an NGS headline coming up next week, so we'll get more information on that. But I fully expect there to likely be a seasonal coming with those last 4 LTQs that were listed. Now, of course, all that stuff from the NGS headline is subject to change. So, we've gotten in trouble with that before. That's Dark Falls Aegis. Yeah, but with the Octos, like I said, if you're using an Octo, use the Octo. Do not let anyone tell you, oh, dude, yeah, you were dumb for making an Octo when these new units are coming out that are better. They're not that much. They're not really better. They're not. The PP, yes, is great. They have they have 1 defense higher. You know what I'm saying? Like, sure, they're a more viable option in terms of the PPS. But are they better? Very subjective. Very subjective, because the regular ones are flat potency. You can use on everything. They're the same potency of 4.5, and you can more easily get fixes on them, which will better increase your all-around gameplay, your all-around damage output, all the above. You know what I'm saying? You have a bunch of enthusiasts or performers on those things, which you can, readily obtain more easily. That PP plus 6 doesn't really make any difference at all. None, actually. So consider that. As I always tell people in this game, don't be so quick to just blindly follow like the meta and just like what people say, because every unit, every weapon has its pros and its cons, regardless. A lot of people will just see, like, back when Eclair was kind of the meta, it's like there's 4.0%. Everyone's like, nope, just 4.0, get that. That's the only thing you should get, because it's 4.0%. It's the biggest potency. So that's what you need to get. There's pros and there's cons to that. There's pros and there's cons to that. There were pros to the Vita. There are pros to the Ajax. There's cons to them. There's cons and pros to the E-Player. But you have to understand that. And a lot of people just simply don't understand that. A lot of people just simply don't understand that. They just hear it. They see the potency number, and there's so many people who screaming on this game. That, and will almost be toxic towards you. Like, oh, you do no, just get the 4.0, just get the max bolts, just get that. No, just what I'm saying. And then everyone starts singing that, and then I walk in the room with 2 Ephetus units and hold aggro against people with all eclairs with a Drake Keeper 4. You see what I'm saying? There's ways there's sciences and ways of working between these things, and understanding your class and understanding how to manage your class's abilities, understanding how to play your class, understanding PP management, all these things come into a factor. So don't be so blinded by tunnel vision of just the flat thing that like that one person says, oh, you got to use that. That's better. You know what I'm saying? Like, boom. Like, don't be so blinded about that. Do your own research. Do your due diligence. And that will bring you to success. Welcome to my TED Talk. Delicious. Who loves orange soda? Cal loves orange soda. I do. Anyways. Welcome. Oh, I got to turn it down. SPIKED content.